Alright, what's up everybody? Back with another video today. We've got 3 new AIs on chess.com, so naturally that means we're going to play all of them. These ones seem to be a little bit different, so evidently if you hover over here, maybe it does show up. Alright, so the completion percentage next to it is how many people on chess.com, I assume, have beat the computer. So first one's almost 20%, 14, and almost 10% have beaten the last one. So honestly, I have no idea how hard these are going to be, but we're just going to jump into the first one and give it a go. Got a little bit of coffee left. We'll go e4. I think the assumption's got to be that, which is I guess how you should always play chess anyways, but that all the computers are going to be tough. So we need to focus up here. Bishop c4, queen b6. That's an unusual move. We'll go knight c3. Okay, so this is definitely a bit of an unorthodox opponent. Let's go d3. Probably going to throw a knight d5 next. We'll see where that queen wants to go. That's a free pawn. Let's take with the knight. I'm not concerned with the discovery. Right now I'm trying to decide if queen takes h5 is a move I want to consider. Threatening check here. It seems like it is. Let's go for it. Okay, so I'm thinking check. Then we can take if we want to. Can also take the rook here. A couple decent options there. Taking the rook is probably the cleanest. I don't really have much after this check though. Take, bishop takes here, check. Here, I can throw this in. We could always take the rook and then throw knight d5 in. Here, here. Alright, let's take the rook. Let's not think about this one too much. Bishop back here. Okay. So this is definitely a slightly weaker opponent. Am I concerned about this? Probably should be a little bit. Let's throw this move in first. Okay. Take here. Does not take there. All right. Let's clean this one up. Let's go and take that knight. And then we'll take here. King back. Let's hit the pawn. Take with check. Let's go here. Okay. Let's go queen e7. I'm gonna keep trying to poke a little bit. Let's keep doing it. Take with check. Let's just open things up a bit. Check here. Okay. Let's go rook b1. It's mostly a formality at this point, but that's okay. Looking for queen b3 mate. Still looking for queen b3 mate. And we got it. All right. That was a quick one. We're contributing. I don't think I saw the percentage go up at all, but that's okay. There's a lot of people on chess.com. So here we go. This is fighter, 14%. So the previous one was almost 20. This one's 14. So should at least be a little bit tougher. Let's go knight c3. Never quite understood queen f6 as a move. I do see this even in the 17 to 1800s. Not an uncommon move by any means. Let's go bishop c4. We'll drop back to b3 if they play b5. Not concerned about b4. I want to go to d5 anyways. Giving me the option to take at least the bishop. I don't necessarily need to play it yet. Let's go to c3 looking for this. That makes sense. Yeah, I wouldn't want to let me get that in. Bishop g5, knight d5, both look good. Knight d5, one of these is likely forced. Probably queen d6 to also cover this pawn. Do I have a good follow-up there? So right now I'm thinking maybe knight d5 on queen d6 going knight h4. Looking for this. Also let my queen get in. If, for example, I go here and they play something like g6 to stop my knight from coming in, then I would maybe consider queen f3, looking to target this pawn. Let's do that. Knight d5. They do go here, which hangs the pawn. We'll take it. Queen h5 check. Looks pretty good. Have to go here. This should be winning material. Here we take. Can I get away with just taking? I don't think so. I don't think I'm securing mate here. Let's go here. Okay. Here we go. Bishop h6. Knight's pinned. So here we've got all kinds of discoveries. Is there a killer blow? Take here. Cover this square. King e7 is forced. Check. King here. So the king's kind of escaping there. Take here. Still forced. That looks a little bit cleaner. Let's do that. Take with check. Take that. Okay. That'll work. Obviously not what I was expecting, but take the check and we'll win the knight. And then what to follow? What to follow? Let's give another check. Gonna keep running. Okay. Let's throw an a4. Gonna take that. We'll trade rooks if given the opportunity. Here, let's take. We will trade, assuming king takes. And let's go king up. Looking for rook a1 check. Let's get rook a1 in anyways. Take the pawn. Looking for maybe bishop e3 next. I'm really not concerned about that pawn. We could always go rook b1. So here I was thinking check. We got to be finding mate here. Check. Okay. Don't think the percentage went up again. It's okay. We're doing our part at least. All right, last one. Pincer. This is going a little bit faster than I thought. I thought the bots were going to be a little bit harder. Maybe pincer will be the challenge. Take a couple attempts. e4, e5. Knight f3. Okay, we're getting the Italian game, which is my favorite opening. Shoo, hair's a little rough today. All right, here we'll go a3. It's my typical move. Knight c3. Okay. Makes sense. Let's go and take. Then we'll go d3. The preemptive h6. Okay. Given the way that black's played this, I'm kind of expecting them to castle queenside. Can always throw b4, b5 down the board. Which makes me kind of lean away from something like bishop e3 that I think I would like to play in this position sometimes. That probably still is okay. The idea being that bishop e3, if takes, I can castle. Takes here, I can castle and have the open file for my rook. Let's do that. I'll stick with it. Knight up. Okay. I'm going to be quite surprised if black castles kingside, and they do. Okay. So here I'm thinking open it up a bit. Go d4. Seems like the principled move here. Stay push e5. Take. When you get into the situation where there's a lot of trades, which I would like to avoid, you could do something like d5, kick the knight back. I don't know if I'm gaining too much else on that. I would love to use this square for my knight. Let's start with this. Let's go queen e2. I was going to say I would expect something like c6, which is fine. I think I'm going to just take. Not going to think about that one too much. On knight takes, I'm going to be fine with that. To give me that f5 square. If not, my thought was just rook d1. We've got a weak pawn now, so let's target it. Okay, so this does hang e5. Obviously black is attacking here. That knight is really holding down the fort. Blocking all these moves right now. Tricky. So I am seeing that we could go knight takes e5, rook takes b2, and then knight back to c4, hitting the rook and hitting the d6 pawn. That seems to be pretty clean. Not going to overthink this one either. Let's go for it. Total blunder. Okay. Let's see if we can salvage this. I swear I've hung a blunder exactly like that multiple times with the queen check. Oh man, not great. I'd like to defend this pawn now. Certainly. Let's go b3. Gonna start offering the trades, which makes sense. Let's throw knight a4 in. Offering the queen trade, which I certainly don't want. Let's drop here. Try to hit this pawn. It's a good move. Take here. Then here. And mate. All right. Put me out of my misery there. Give me another go. No blunders this time. Get a decent position up until that point. Okay. Repeat so far. stick with a3. That's a new one. That is certainly a new one. Is there any reason for me not to take that? I'm going to make black prove me wrong here. Queen there. Could also just take. Don't want to let the knight jump in. Thinking take. Knight c3. Seems plenty good to me. Could also take and go h3. Or we go c3 off the bat. I think we're going to take. Gonna take. Pawn takes here. So now I'm expecting bishop to come here next. Being up a pawn, I think I would be fine if black doubles me up here. Not going to be overly concerned about that. Could also play h3 preemptively, but I don't really feel a strong need to. Let's go here. We'll take the trades. Okay. It's an interesting one. Thinking about something. Threatening the fork here. I don't think that quite amounts to anything yet, but something to keep in mind certainly. We go rook g1. Go ahead and threaten that pawn. Seems like a decent start. Here I'm thinking this seems to be okay. Here, bishop d4, I'll go bishop d2. And then we'll bump the rook out next move. I think probably just rook b1. Eventually push this pawn. Here I like the idea of knight e2. Hit the bishop, hit this pawn on bishop back. Maybe even push d4. Certainly possible. I'm going to start with knight e2. Gonna let me take the bishop. I will take the bishop there. And here I think that's a free pawn. Struggling to see why it wouldn't be. Hit the knight here. Let's take. Okay, here we're just going to drop back. That move doesn't make a ton of sense to me. Let's see where that rook wants to go first. Okay, kick it back. Go bishop g5 next. Here I was thinking rook g4. Hit this pawn. I don't think black has a good way to defend it. I saw this move, was not really concerned about it. Maybe I should have been. I don't think so. We're going to take. Okay, it's fine. Here, let's go bishop g3. Keep the bishop secured. I really think I'd be happy to... What I'm wondering here, I'm up a decent amount of material, doing something like bishop takes d6, regardless of how black takes back. Just playing king f1. On rook takes, going king g2, and just trying to win the the 2-pawn up endgame. It may not necessarily be the cleanest move, but could do something like this. I could try to protect the pawn. I certainly don't want to allow this. I wonder if they just play that move anyways. Interesting. Okay. You could always protect it and try to go like king e2, rook h1. The knight is pretty limited at this point. Maybe I'm convincing myself here. Let's try it. We do not get takes. Let's go king d2. That makes sense. Okay, we're going to take. That move doesn't make sense to me. Doesn't work. I'm going to hold everything down here. g5, we would just push. Let's go f4. I'm going to give my king a path forward. And this should be pretty much over. Alright, first game was rough. Had the bad blunder, but I think we should be able to pull it out here. Let's keep moving the king in. Gonna win this pawn now. f5. Not concerned about checks here. Let's just drop the king back, make sure I have the escape square. Don't do anything funny. Give up any silly perpetuals. Here we'll hit the rook. And then we're just gonna start pushing. No reason to stop here. Gotta go rook here, and we'll go a5. a6. King's coming in for whatever reason. Gonna queen, then we'll queen here next move. Take the rook. And ideally this is just a formality at this point. Go rook h6. And mate. We'll take a review at that last one real quick, just because this went a little fast. I thought Pincer was going to be a little bit harder. Definitely beat me the first time, 1650. That makes sense. Played a good game that time. I don't want to look at the review for the second game because that was terrible, but 2200 rating there. a7 was a miss to force eventual checkmate. So I assume the thought here is to just skip the steps I made and go rook h6 immediately, kind of forcing the same checkmate. That would have been cleaner. Don't disagree, but a7 was a miss. That's still plus 35.5, so not too bad. No mistakes that game. The one miss, but that's okay. Bishop b5, taking is correct. I was a little unsure about this opening, but it seems like I played it well. Bishop d2, yep. Rook b1, knight e2 is best. Takes, yeah. Win the pawn. Bishop b2 back. Yeah, so we just kind of slowly won pawns that game and got into an endgame that was just pretty much undefendable for black. Won another pawn there. Kept the pawn defended. I think that h4 in this position is probably the right call. Went too far. h4 here. Just to keep it protected. It says it's excellent. My other thought was to take. We'll see what the engine says about that. It calls it an inaccuracy. Okay, so I think I made the right call here with h4, getting the king out of the way. Taking the pawn. the sole point of this move in my mind would be to win this pawn on h4 back, but for whatever reason black doesn't want to do that. So then I take the knight, and at this point I'm up, what, 4 pawns? So pretty much lost, get the king in the game, and it was over at that point. Won the pawn. Here I was a little bit nervous about doing something like h5. I guess it would have been fine, but I wanted to make sure I wasn't creating any potential opportunities for a perpetual or hanging my rook somehow. So here I just wanted to get the king out of the way and then push pawns. And then here I had my h6, but ended up getting the exact same idea anyways here. King has no escape squares, only moves are pawn pushes, and whichever pawn you push, it doesn't matter. Rook e6 is made the next move, so not too bad. Cleaned up the new Chess AI there. It's going to wrap it up for this video. Hopefully this is entertaining. Hopefully you guys are going to go out and beat these bots too, so that we can, maybe something cool will happen when we get to 100%. I don't know. We've got a ways to go. 19. Wonder what the rating of that one is. We at least got to get to 100% on the scanner. So, all right. That'll wrap it up. Thanks for watching. We'll see you in the next one.